Hello everyone, this is Debbie Henderson from Debbie's Designs. Welcome to my weekly Sunday share. I'm going to give it a few seconds for everyone to join me tonight. I hope you guys all find me. I hope you're enjoying your weekend. So I can see you guys all coming on. Welcome. So this is my Sunday share where I do this weekly, and I try to feature something different each week. Like one week is usually a card fold. The following week is usually a technique. And then I have a 3D week and a Step It Up Sunday week. So this week is all about card folds, and I just want to do a couple announcements before I get started. My hostess code for the month of April. Anyone placing online orders with me, make sure you use this code when you check out so you can earn some free products from me. A reminder that Paper Pumpkin is all about family this month coming up. My wonderful family. It's going to be 8 cards. And make sure you are subscribed by April 10th to receive the April kit. I can't wait to see what that's all about. My door prize for the month of April is the Memories of Home stamp set. Anyone that places an order with me, your name will be entered into my drawing. And that includes all of my Paper Pumpkin subscribers also. And lastly, this is my free card kit for the month of April. Any order placed with me online, you'll receive a kit with all of these pieces so you can make your own kit. So now I'm not going to show you the card right off. I'm going to start it out first because the card I'm making, actually, when I cut the designer paper I'm using, there's going to be enough for 2 cards. So let me get started with giving you some of the products I'm using. I'm using the Label Me Fancy Punch, the Dino Days stamp set, and the coordinating dino dies. I'm also using the hammered metal embossing folder, and I'll show you what that looks like. I've already gone ahead and done some of the steps only because I'm making 2 cards tonight. Old Olive and Flirty Flamingo ink. Old Olive Dark, Lovely Lipstick Dark, Stamping Blends markers. I've got all of these cut up. Don't laugh at me. This is from a product share. These are the DInoroar enamel shapes. These were just left over from a product share I had, so I'm going to be using those on both cards. And I'm using the DInoroar Designer Series paper. You can see there's patterns on both sides, and that's why I can make 2 cards. And you're going to understand why as I get into this. So let me bring out the pieces to start off both cards. Okay. So the card base on both is 11 by 4 1/4, and I'm going to go ahead and score them at 5 1/2. Hello everyone, I'm so glad you're here with me tonight. Okay, so I scored both at 5 1/2. We're going to do some more scoring a little bit later. I've gone ahead and embossed Lovely Lipstick, Old Olive, 5 1/4 by 4 on each. And that's with the hammered metal embossing folder. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those, and then I'll show you the card we're making. Cards, because I'm making 2. And because there's a lot of bumps on the embossing, I try to use liquid glue just to make sure that everything is going to glue nicely. So I'm doing the Lovely Lipstick on top of the Flirty Flamingo. And the other one is the Old Olive over the Pretty Peacock. So we can do 2 cards at once. Okay, so there's my 2 card bases with layer number 2. Now I'm going to bring in 2 more pieces, and these measure 10 inches by 4. Pretty Peacock and Flirty Flamingo. And let me bring the cards in. So I've got 2 cards and I'm doing a kite fold with you tonight. And this opens 2 ways. It's going to open this way. And then we're also going to open the little kite, which I used Velcro. So you can see how neat this card fold is. So you can see I have the little bat on the inside on both pieces. And then on this one, when I open this one up, it's got the little dinosaur and again on the inside. So because of the patterns and the way they worked out, I was able to make more of a feminine card and a masculine card. And I'm doing the same thing here also. Now let me bring in my scoring tool. I'm going to show you how to do the fold for the kite. So now this is 10 inches long, so we're going to score in the half at 5. And then what I'm going to do is bring in a pencil, and I'm going to measure 2 inches over at 7 and 2 inches over at 3. I'm going to turn around and do the same thing, 7 and 3. And while I have my pencil, I'm also going to move this right down here vertically and measure at 2 inches. I'm going to do the same thing on this one. Score at 5. Measure over 2 at 7. Measure over 2 at 3. Flip it over. Do the same thing. 7 and 3. And then move it over here and do 2 and 2. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I need to score some more. I'm not done scoring. Now, here's the center score. We're going to actually turn this over, and this is where this black permanent marker that I did on my board is going to help me a lot. I'm going to find the 2 inch over on the right and the 2 inch over on the left. So I'm looking for my tick mark, and I'm going to go diagonal, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. Find the tick mark on this side and the tick mark on the other side. So what you end up with is like an X with a line going through the middle. Let's do the same thing on this one. So there's my tick mark. There's my first, whoops, I missed it. And then here's my second tick mark. Okay, and again, you're going to have the little X with the score down the middle. That's it for scoring. Now I'm going to take my bone folder and score on all 3 lines. Same thing on this one, do center. One of the diagonal and the second diagonal. So now that's all been scored and folded. Now the next step is to bring in the trimmer, and I'm going to start at the tick mark where I made the score line and go down to this one in the center. And I can line that up right on my track. And that's going to give us the kite shape. So again, I'm finding where the score line is, the little tick mark. Actually, I should have folded this in half and done them at the same time. That's what I did on my card. So let me go ahead. You're going to go through both pieces. So that's how I did it on my other one. I actually folded it in half and I cut through both layers at once. So there's my 2 layers. And one more to go. Okay, and then I just kind of eyeballed it to make sure that when I fold this in, so the middle part you're going to fold in, And I wanted to make sure that this looked even here, and it does. Same thing on this one. I'm going to fold in, and then I'm going to take my bone folder and fold them both down. This one needs to move over just a tad. Okay, there's the first kite. And there's my second kite. Okay, now what we're going to do is bring in the card bases. And we're going to go ahead and glue those down. And again, because there's embossing, I'm going to use liquid glue just to make sure it glues down nicely. And that's going to go right in the center of the card. I'm just going to press down just for a little bit, and then we'll glue the other one in place. So it's kind of neat that this card has two places where you can leave a message for the little child that you're sending this to, or this could go to an adult too, I suppose. It's going to go on the front. And I'm going to bring my cards back in so you guys can see them. I just needed to get them out of the way so I could do all of my scoring. Okay, so there's the beginning of our kite cards. I'm going to put these hopefully right here so you can see them. Now comes the fun part. Okay, we've got all of this designer paper. So I've got two pieces that measure 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and then two pieces that measure 1 3/4 by 2 5/8. And now you're going to understand why you can make two cards. I'm going to start out with the little ones. We got to cut those diagonally to fit at the top of our kite, these two pieces right here. So I'm going to put that in my trimmer. The one thing you need to remember about this, in order for them to fit side by side like this, I cut from left to right. This time I'm going to cut from right to left. Okay, so there's your opposite cuts. Let me move them up here so I can do my other two. We're going to do the same thing on this one. We're going to go from left to right first. So there's those two. And now we're going to go from right to left. Just make sure you cut them from corner to corner. Okay, now here is where you figure out that you need, so these two in the middle are going to go for the pink one. If I flip these over, you've got two pieces to do the other one, so you don't waste anything. Same thing with this one. I'm going to take the two in the middle. I'm going to turn them over this way. So there's my kite. And then flip these over, and there's kite number 2. So now we just need to glue these down. Let me start, whoops, that's my card. I don't need that. Let me start with this one, and it's easier to start with the two little pieces. And I leave about 1/4 inch from the edge, and then you'll have just a little sliver for where they meet in the center. Now I need to get another snail. And we're going to do the same thing with these two. Because if you don't make two cards, then you're going to throw away 2 pieces of designer paper. You don't want to do that. Okay, there's my first one. Now let's bring in the other one. So for those of you guys that have kids or grandkids, these make the cutest cards. Okay, now we're going to glue this one. Two more pieces. I just thought it was kind of neat how one side of this paper was more girly because of the colors, and then when you flipped it over, you could use the other pieces for a masculine card. Okay, and there's kite number 2. Now let me bring in a scrap piece of white. I'm going to go ahead and do the sentiment. And let me get my chamois just so I can clean off my stamp. And the sentiment says, "You're rawsome." Let's see, we need Old Olive and Flirty Flamingo. So let me start out with Old Olive. I better punch that to make sure I get enough room. There's my first one. I just got ink all over it. Let me grab another piece of white. Okay, now we're gonna do Flirty Flamingo. And then I'm going to show you another way to save on the cardstock. So if you notice here, I layered some colored cardstock on each end. And we had a bunch of these we cut off. So I'm going to bring 2 of each. And all I'm going to do, instead of punching the whole shape, I'm just going to cut off 2 ends. Just a great way to use up the scraps. And then I'm going to add snail on the ends of both of these. Come on. This one is the Flirty Flamingo. And I'm just going to layer that on each end. And same thing on this one. So what I normally do is I try to leave enough there to match the edge that we left on the card front. Now let me get some stamping dimensionals. Let's move this ink. And this is going to go right in the middle. Same thing on this one. And then I'm going to bring in all of these little pieces I want to use up. Let's see, we have some green on here, so I'm going to go ahead and do it the same way I did here. So I'm going to tuck one underneath. And let's see, I don't have any more of that shape, so I'll just move over to this shape. I'll add one on the corner, and then we've got these little triangular pieces. So I'll just add 3 of those. One more down here. So there's the front of that one. So all we got left to do is the ribbon. And then let me see what I did on this one. Now on this one, I stamped and cut out. This is my masculine one, so I didn't want to put too much ribbon. So I went ahead and stamped and cut 2 leaves. I'm going to tuck those in. So this is my little boy one. Whoops. Let's see what we got left here. I'm going to use one of these tucked on top of the leaf. Oh, I can't get that one off. And we've got one right there, and then I'll add one more. Now this card has a little bit of the red where this one didn't, or the lovely lipstick. So I'm going to go ahead and try to use up all of these little triangles that I've got. So this one will have a little bit more bling than the first one. Let's see, we need one there. Let me see, I got one more of these to use up. This one's already busy enough, so maybe I'll add it to this one. Okay, so let me move those. Now, I forgot to show you that our kite also has a tail on it. And then all we have left to do is the inside of the cards. So I got both pieces of the white. Now what I did with the ribbon for the tail, you can see that it's colored. I've got Flirty Flamingo on this one, and then the Pretty Peacock on the other one. So that's where the blends markers come in. And on the more boyish card, I didn't put a bow. I didn't want a bow, so I just need a shorter piece. I'm using the 1/4 inch Whisper White ribbon. I'm just going to color it with my blends marker. I always like to keep a lot of white ribbon on hand, just because if I have, I want to add ribbon to a card and I don't have the color, I just color my own. The next color is going to be the Flirty Flamingo. Not Flirty Flamingo, that was this one. This one is Lovely Lipstick. Now, Lovely Lipstick is one of the 5 in colors that we're going to be losing on May 31st. So if you guys, they're going to be announcing the retiring list this month, more towards the end of the month. So make sure you grab all of your ink refills for the 5 in colors that are retiring. Okay, now I've got the white twine and I've got my ribbon all done. Now, before we can glue the ribbon in place, we also need to add a layered white piece for the inside. We're going to have some more measuring, and that's from these 2 white pieces right here. And those measure 4 3/4 by 3 3/4. I'm just going to use my scoring tool to measure with. I need to measure at, let me see, 1 7/8 at the top, and then 1 7/8 on each side. Now, how am I going to do that? I should have used my, I'm going to go backwards, 1 7/8. So we have 3 marks on this one, each side at 1 7/8 and the top. And then we've got number 2. I'm just going to move over 1 7/8. Oh, I need to measure on the bottom also. We need 4 tick marks. I forgot about the kite shape at the bottom. Okay, now we need to cut this like we did the other one. You're going to take the 2 tick marks, put that in the track. And I don't dare cut 2 layers at once. I'm going to do them one at a time. You're just going to have to watch me cut for a little bit. And let's see, I got to figure out which one is the right line here. 1 7/8 is the one right there. Okay, so there's one. So that's going to fit right inside the card. But we need to do a little bit of stamping first. We're going to add a couple of the little dinosaur images. 2 more cuts. And I'll add the directions once the video's over. I'll go in and add the measurements for you in case you want to do one of these. Okay, so there's my two. I'm going to flip them over so I don't see those pencil marks. And let's do some stamping. Now for the Flirty Flamingo card, I'm going to go ahead and use this dinosaur with Flirty Flamingo ink. And I'm just going to put him over to the side, peeking out. So there's for the inside, and then we're going to do the same thing for the little triangle or the little kite shape. So there's number one. Number two, we're going to use Old Olive. And there's that little critter. And the same thing on this one. Oops. Wow, he didn't stamp very well. Like I tell my customers, there's always two sides to every sheet of paper. There we go. Okay, now, before we glue this piece on the inside, I need to find my ribbon. Where did all my ribbon go? There it is. We're going to take one of the twines. We need to secure the twine in place before we put the white piece on the inside. So I'm just going to add 2 glue dots. And then I'm going to glue that down. And then we can glue our little critter on the inside. And you can see how well this fits to the shape. So the inside is all done. So there's the number one. And while I have him out, I might as well glue this piece on the inside. So just a cute, fun card. Okay, so again, you're going to open this way and you're going to open this way. And I'm going to add the little Velcro dot on there right now too, just so I can keep him closed. And since I have 2 of these, whoops, I'm just going to take that and put them on top of each other, and I'm going to cut them in half. Save that for the other card. And I'm going to push that down and push this down, and there's our little Velcro enclosure. Okay, so there's that one. Now all we need to do is add I only added a couple tails, and I was almost out of this white ribbon, so I'm hoping I have enough for 3. And all I did was tie just a single knot. This ribbon is so small that if you pull it really, really tight, and I need to stop talking so I can focus on this. I can't see my end. There it is. I'm just going to pull really, really tight. Then bring this in and cut at an angle. So there's one. I hope I have enough for 3. Let me slide that one up just a tad bit more. And there's number 2. And we'll cut that at an angle also. Let me spread that out a little bit. And here I do have enough for 3. Yahoo! I wasn't sure because the ribbon that you see here is all I had left, the one that I colored. Okay, so there's my little tails. So this card is complete, just like this one. Now let's finish up our little girly card. So again, I'm going to add some glue dots to the inside. just so we can secure the twine in place. And there's my twine. And now we're going to add this cute little critter on the inside. So you've got the glue dots that hold the twine, and then you have this second piece that's going to hold it down. Now let me get my little Velcro while I'm at it. I'm going to stick that right there. And I just need to do a bow with one piece and then 2 tails on this one. Okay, there's my bow. And I'm going to use a glue dot and scrunch it up. And then just a little bit of liquid glue on each side. So there's my pretty cute little bow. I think I cut a lot of ribbon on this one. I didn't need this much, but that's okay. I think adding the tails is probably the worst part because the ribbon is so small. Okay, let's scoot that up a little bit. Cut that at an angle, and we got one more to go, and I think our card is done. So you can see that I made 4 cards by using just a little bit of designer paper. Okay, let me move all of this junk aside and bring in all of the cards. So let's see, these 2 were made with the same designer paper, just flipping it over, and then these 2 also. So I will, because I have 2 cards tonight, I'm going to pick 2 names tomorrow for one of each color. Oh, you know what I forgot? I forgot to glue my piece on the inside. One more step. I knew there was something else. Nope, not that one. It's this one. There, now I'm done. So thanks so much for joining me, you guys. Tomorrow I will be live, but I will be live on my group page, and we're going to be doing an exciting little project. I listed everything that everyone needed. So that's going to be part of my Stamp With Me class tomorrow. So if you're not part of my Stampin' Ink Designs group, just make sure you look for me and ask to join so you can do a project with us tomorrow. So have a good remainder of your Sunday, everyone, and I will see you again tomorrow if you join me to stamp with me. Have a good night.